Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, great morning, good morning. This is Coach Morning. Welcome to Coach Morning Live. Today is going to be a great show. Coach Morning Live is the home of the MVP code. That's where you know that you got five most important questions, five most important steps in your life to access a great level of success, a great level of health, and fulfillment. And this is mission, vision, passion, plan, and action. Coach Morning Live is your home to learn, to grow, to think, to share ideas, and most importantly, to take action. Today, we're going to have a great show, and the two main themes that you will remember about the show should be action and persistence. Our MVP code is Thomas Edison. For all the 57 years, or at least 50 years, I've always known that Thomas Edison is the inventor of the light bulb. I was wrong all the time. I had to invent or start Coach Morning Live to know that this is not true. No time to talk. We have to start the show. Let's get started. But remember to like, to share, and to subscribe. We need your help in building a wonderful community of champions. Let's get started. As you know, this show has three main segments, very easy to remember. If you come every Thursday, you know we have the quote of the day, the MVP of the day, and Coach Morning Takes. When we say MVP, you all, especially in America, you used to most valuable player. When I say the MVP code, I did it mainly because I was thinking about the MVPs in the sports world, in American professional sports. But when we say MVP here, we don't only talk about sports. It could be anything. And I have met MVPs at every single level of life. It doesn't matter what level of education those people had, how big is their wealth, but I've met MVPs in all aspects of life, and I'd love to share those ideas on Coach Morning Live. I've shared those in my book called Success with Meaning. It's a pleasure to be able to share that with you. So the segment now is the quote of the day, and you've been reading it on the screen. It's by Walt Disney. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Quote of the day: the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Many times I've met people who have a lot of words to say. They have all the ingredients for success, all the ingredients for peak performance. They can build the world with their words. They can build even the universe that nobody knows how big it is, how powerful it is, a universe we can't even describe. But those people, they always have the words, the right techniques, the right theories. But in real life, they don't take action. Today, with that powerful man called Walt Disney, you've heard the name, you've met this guy through Walt Disney World. He's a powerful man, and he left us with this simple idea, simple quote, but that every single child, every single entrepreneur, every single human being should know. It's time, sometime, to get started. And the time to get started is to quit talking. Quit talking and start, begin doing. So the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Let's take action. Let's not wait for the perfect moment. Welcome back. I know you were watching me. I love you, and I want to make sure that you take action every day to change the world around you. The world needs so many changes. Things have to change. Life is not perfect, and sometimes the perfection has to come from you, from me, from all of us. We cannot wait for one person to change the world. The change is on all of us. And that's why I started Coach Morning Live. I wrote the book on success with meaning because I know it's not about one person, it's about all of us. This is the time for the MVP of the day. And the MVP of the day is Thomas Edison. Oh my. When I went to school, I learned and I repeated for many times that Thomas Edison was the inventor of the light bulb. Today I know it's not quite correct. Many people before him did that. But sometimes you get the credit based on the level of your accomplishments, based on the extension of your performance, your realizations. When you talk about electricity, you simply say, Thomas Edison is not the only one. Even after him, you had other people. But Thomas Edison is the epitome of inventions in electricity. When we talk about MVP of the day, I tend not to just to talk about the story, a life story, because it's not the purpose, it's not the lives to tell you the story of the person's life, but it's to mention those facts that matter in the person's life. The MVP, Thomas Edison, has many extraordinary accomplishments in his life. And it's important to know that this genius, when he went to school, he only stayed for a few months because one of the teachers decided that he wasn't capable of learning. He was too slow. His mother, Nancy Edison, decided she was a teacher, and she did not take that as the truth, as the gospel. She decided to take her son, a boy, home, and what we do, a lot of people do now today, they do homeschooling. This genius has gotten his instruction, his knowledge from homeschooling. Mom taught him the love of reading and the ability to experiment things, to develop his curiosity. And this is what we have. He had very little formal education, but he became one of the greatest inventors in the world. We should know that Thomas Edison, when he became an entrepreneur basically at the age of 12. He started selling newspapers and candies on the train. An entrepreneur at the age of 12. He developed a high level of curiosity. When he made money as that 12-year-old or young entrepreneur, he invested his money in buying chemistry books and laboratory equipment. That's how you know that you have a genius. Very young, or someone with a special vocation. Very young, they decided to take that path and develop a certain passion. And this is Thomas. He had his first invention or his first patent when in 1860, that's 1869. He was born in 1947. On February 11, I remember that day because in my village, in Haiti, where I'm from, they have a big party. That's the church, the parish special day. And February 11, 1847, saw the birth of this great man by the name of Thomas Edison. So his first patent, he got it at the age of 16. It's 1869. He was born in 47. So about 2069. It's early, right? 47, 50, 69. About age 22. He got his first patent. Other realization. He opened his first research laboratory, who's become the way to go for the world, in 1876 in Menlo, New Jersey. It's important to note that this guy had a deafness at his teenage years, and he reported that this problem became a plus for him because he used it to use his that allowed him to concentrate on things that he was doing. So with less distractions, the problem of deafness become a plus instead of a minus. Nobody know how he became. He had the deafness problem, but that's was the situation. He started early. They thought he was incapable of learning. Mom took him. That's what we have. A genius that changed the world by the power of his actions, his persistence. He learned at some point he helped save someone's life, and the train operator, because that was on the train, and the train operator taught him telegraphy. We allowed him to get a job and make some money to finance his dreams, his realization, his dreams, his vision. Thomas, people will remember him, not because he invented the light bulb, but because he made it, he commercialized it, he made it more practical. The great thing about him, we think of him as epitome of action, but also we know about persistence. Sometimes you take action, first action, second, and you go and you can't get what you want. Today we want everybody, including me, to know that action is the human energy, the most important human energy, because if there is no action, there is no creation, no creativity. You can't change the world with just thinking about it. You have to take action. And Thomas, when he was trying to get the right formula for the light, the right filament that would make the light bulb more practical, more useful in households, it's reported that he tried 10,000 times. That may not be accurate, but it's important to mention what he said. I'm pretty sure some of you have heard that. But it's worth sharing that with everyone. When he was asked about his failures, he reportedly said, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. I have just found 10,000 ways that don't work." Sometimes people have a tendency to just discourage and not go through with their dreams because sometimes they get some obstacles, some setbacks. When we think about Thomas Edison, we should think about his ability to persist on making his dreams a reality, his ability to take action, and his ability to have a vision that can transform the world, that can transform his environments, that can transform people's lives. He, after his first invention, things did not work. People don't, there was no need for that. So he learned after the first failure that he had to create things that people need. You can create 1,000 things, but if people don't have a need for it, it doesn't make any difference. And that's what Thomas Edison learned, and that made him the success that he became. I should mention also that when you think about General Electric, you should think about Thomas Edison. One of his company had become part of General Electric. So when we talk about GE, which is a big company in the world, we should we should remember that Thomas Edison, that powerful man, by his action, by his ability to take action, to develop curiosity, and to be persistent, was part of what we have today as BE. Say, remember to like, to share, to subscribe, to help us build the community of champions that we dream of. You're watching Coach Morning Live. Now it's the time for Coach Morning Steak. I am excited about it. And I realize that most of the time when we pick our MVP, we realize that they had a lot of obstacles in their life. Isn't that true? Thomas Edison had a deafness. At school, the teachers, I remember Albert Einstein. The teachers decided that he was incapable of learning. He was slow. But mom took him and he became one of the greatest inventors in the world. This guy held 1,093 patents. Isn't that something that we all should know? He held, as an inventor, 1,093 patents. It's incredible. But he was considered slow, incapable of learning. In life, we know it's important to take action. But sometimes you take action and the results may not be what you expect. When that happens, you're not going to let go. The right behavior is to keep going. Move to the next step. As Thomas Edison tried 10,000 times, and those 10,000 times were not failures. He learned that those 10,000 ways did not work, but they weren't failures. So in life, it's great to understand that our failures are not negative. It's always to grow. It's always to learn. It's opportunities to learn. And it's also important to know that sometimes our weaknesses, the areas of our life that are not considered to be at their peak, at their best, sometimes they can become our opportunity to be better, to be great, to be wonderful, to get to the peak performance. This is what we've learned with Thomas Edison and with many MVPs that we have studied on Coach Morning Live. Isn't that great? That weaknesses become opportunities. Weaknesses become ways to grow to the level of MVPs, which means most valuable player. You become a champion because you've used your weaknesses on a positive way. Those weaknesses, you have mastered your ways to make them opportunities, make them ways to get to the peak level. Weaknesses, sometimes you have no money. You were born in a modest family, and you think of it as it's as a bad thing. But in reality, that lack of money in your family may become the opportunity for you to become a great person. Thomas did it because he was persistent. He took action over and over. He understood also that he had to create products that people need. So sometimes we need to be realistic. We need to study the market also when we are entrepreneurs, professionals. When you deal with your customers, you have to know what they need. You work, you produce, you create products that they need, and that's going to make a difference. That's the take of the day. Remember that action is the most powerful human energy. With action, that's how you transform the world. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're watching Coach Morning Live. Remember to like, to share, and subscribe. I want this moment with you on Coach Morning Live to be a happy moment. Start calling me Coach Morning, the happy camper. You're not here to just talk about serious stuff. You're also here to be happy while thinking about ways to be the MVP in your life. All of us, you and I, all of us have the opportunity to become MVPs. It's not only the one we see on TV. We can be MVPs in our own life, in our industry, at work, at school. The MVPs is simply someone who has a mission, has a vision, has passion for what they're doing, has a plan, and most importantly, they know it's important to take action. Today, remember, we had the quote of the day from a great man called Walt Disney, who gave us Walt Disney World, even if didn't have the opportunity to see it, but that's his realization or his dream, his vision, to his brother. That happened. The MVP of the day was Thomas Edison, who taught us that those weaknesses can become opportunities. Who taught us that people can say that we can't learn, but it's most of the time it's not true. A lot of people who were considered as incapable of learning became geniuses because the power in us, the willingness to grow, to be the MVP that we dream of, is in us. As we say on Coach Morning Live, you are the engine. We are the engines. We make things happen. As human, we are powerful. When we have the will to make things happen, we know that we have the capacity to make it happen. So the text is to be always on the ball with a mission, a vision, passion, a plan. It has been a pleasure to be with you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Every Thursday, I'll be here with my smile, my energy of action. That's why the company that created Coach Morning is called Action 5. I call it Action 5 because I know everyone. I want everyone to know that without action, there is no world. Everything you see is built on action. People may make it, have great ideas, but until they take action, nothing happens. So the world is built on action. Until next time, remember, this is your day. You make it happen. A pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much to be part of the Coach Morning family. See you next Thursday. Like, share, and subscribe.